The ideas that gave birth to our nation are the ideas that our nation is resistant to right now, and we should talk about that all the time.
In a world where narratives are shaped by corporations and gatekeepers, independent voices matter more than ever. Badlands Media brings together citizen journalists, researchers, and independent.
The ideas that gave birth to our nation are the ideas that our nation is resistant to right now, and we should talk about that all the time.
In a world where narratives are shaped by corporations and gatekeepers, independent voices matter more than ever. Badlands Media brings together citizen journalists, researchers, and independent thinkers.
The truth is triggering.
Question the narrative. Explore the facts.
It's authenticity, courage, resilience.
Search for the truth others won't.
It's not about being first or being right.
The information war is changing.
It's about being authentic.
Embrace the friction.
Embrace the friction.
Shut the f*** up.
Authentically antagonizing. Join the movement.
I'm going to say how I feel.
Follow Badlands Media.
This is about the future.
The Badlands. What are the Badlands? Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
All right, good morning, Badlandia. Welcome to Badlands Daily.
It really feels like if a cat with a laser pointer, it's like you led the cat up to the top of the building and now you're leading it over the edge.
President Trump is rebalancing trade around the world and making things more fair for the American people.
I think that anytime the deep state can like over-capitalize in whatever situation they have, they're going to.
But the rest of it is a very well-organized and well-funded color revolution operation of the type they run all over the world again and again and again to destabilize entire society.
Echoes carried on the wind. We stepped into a moment where a nation would begin. Powder smoke and rising banners, voices ringing through the flame. We rode the currents of tomorrow, found the dawn of freedom's flame. Raise the flame of revolution, let the old world hear us roar. Freedom rides on every heartbeat, marching louder than before. From the Delaware to glory, soft disclosure fans the flame.
All right, good morning, Badlandia, and welcome to Badlands Daily. It's Thursday, joined by my brother from another mother of another color, Alpha Warrior. How you doing, buddy?
On fire by the seat of my pants.
You're what?
Said I'm fired by the seat of my pants.
You know that's not how that expression goes, right?
That's how I say it.
Do you know how it actually goes?
Flying by the seat of my pants.
Okay, just making sure.
Why'd I gotta be like everybody else, bro?
Because, I mean, that's an expression. Otherwise, it's just Alpha.
Mine's much cooler.
Talking shit.
Mine is much cooler. I'm on fire.
I love it. I love it. Why are you on fire?
Because I'm moving fast. I'm like, bah, 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 bah.
I think we're gonna get sound issues. You're coming in kind of low on my end.
Nah, you sound fine on mine.
I know you're coming in low on my end.
Hold on.
We'll get a heads up in the chat here.
Yeah. Audience, let us know if my volume's okay or CannCon's volume's okay, or talk to us.
So I told you yesterday, we kind of fixed the whole echoing issue. I think we haven't had a guest with a show with 3 guests yet, but we've got it. I think we've got it figured out now. StreamYard did some sort of an update, and we had to change how our soundboards actually, some of the features on our sound good. Okay, so we're good. On our soundboards, we had to change some of the features around. So we haven't tried it with the 3 people yet, but it did seem to do something perhaps with the volume. That's what people were saying. I went back and watched the playback. I didn't notice it. I just have a better mic than Ash, and I'm taking shots at Ash right there. Because we've got the Shure SM7Bs, bro. That is the industry standard. Ash has a good mic. Don't get me wrong. But like it's just a different type of sound. You know what I mean?
Only, like if there was, what's the other one? Zach runs it.
Well, this, so I have this one right here, the Heel PR40, which is also a really good mic too. And
I think that's the one.
I think that's the one that he
that's
runs.
the one.
Yeah, the Heel PR40. That's a good mic too. And Ash has a good mic. It's just it's different. It's a different type of sound, and hers comes in stronger. That's what I observed when I listened to it. You know, it's so much better than the USB mics that we all used to have, like when we got started, though. So
still have it.
Ash will give me shit today on book club at 2 p.m. book club. So let's go ahead and jump into our sponsors, and we'll talk about our friends over at mypillow.com.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust to your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
Now for the lowest price ever. Kings, $19.98. Queens, only $18.98. And Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, for as low as $29.98. Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept! Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But that's not all. Order right now and we'll ship your order absolutely free.
All right, mypillow.com, promo code Badlands. I'm dual micing it right now. Does it sound different to you? Because I'm only on the heel right now.
No, it didn't sound different.
Okay, so it still sounds the same. Is it better in the chat? Because I'll switch to the heel, but I like the Shure better. So this is the heel right here, and this is the Shure.
Oh, sure.
The Shure is clearer, I think.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Christy gets the heel when we do our date night podcast. I've got 3 of those heels, man. They're good mics, but
You have a I think it's like the cloud amp on it.
no, everything's through the Roadcaster. I don't have an amp.
So that's probably what that one needs. It probably
No. I just have the volume down on that one. That's all.
Oh, okay.
I have the volume down. Okay. Well, we're all over the place this morning. We got one more sponsor, and this is our friends over at Tamarack Gardens.
3 boys taught me 2 things. Summer is an adventure, and bugs are relentless. As an herbalist, I know you don't need harsh chemicals to protect your family. Here at Tamarack Garden, we've got you covered with natural sunscreen, mosquito and tick repellent that's even safe for your pets, a salve to draw out bug bites, and soothing sunburn cream, all made with the power of plants. Because we think summer memories should last longer than the bug bites. Tamarack Garden. Protect your family naturally and eat your weeds.
Eat your weeds.
Delicious.
I love to eat my weeds.
Yeah,
I
you
love. All right, and did Mike let his son take over my pillow? I don't know if it's his son that took over, but he has backed away from my pillow while he runs for governor of Minnesota. Is it his son that took over?
I don't know,
kids.
but he did step down as CEO. He said to fully concentrate on his run for governor.
Let's go. Let's go. All right, guys, smash that thumbs up if you have not done so yet. And you know what? I feel horrible, Alpha, because I completely forgot, but it's fitting that you're on the show with me today. I completely forgot to wish a happy birthday to Lee Walden and all of our other coasties out there. Yesterday was the 236th birthday of the Coast Guard. President Trump had a message out here for you guys, but I don't even know if the Coast Guard knew it was their birthday. So we'll just.
Do they really get one? Let's be honest. Speaking of Coast Guard, you have a future Coast Guard kid. I don't know if not a kid, young man. If you saw I know Trump gave him some accolades. The video that went viral, that lifeguard.
The surfing, the
Yeah.
lifeguard.
I was watching that. I was like, that is that legit. That is some heroic type of moves right there, man.
Yeah, that video, as a Florida boy growing up in the ocean, on the beach and everything else, I watched that, and two things I'm thinking, man, that kid is a badass for, jumping out there and being able to do that. Also, what the hell were you doing swimming in that? To the person that was drowning, what were you thinking? Like rip currents, and we're taught as kids, we're taught when you get in a riptide, don't try and swim out of it. You got to swim along it. Right, swim parallel to the shore until you're out of the riptide, and to get out of it, because you'll never be able to swim your way anyways. Because rip currents will take you back out to sea, and so you're trying to swim towards the shore. No, you got to swim parallel to the shore until you're out of the rip current, and then swim your way back in. But I mean, like, looking at those waves there, like, why was anybody out there swimming in that? What the heck were you thinking? But who knows? All right, so happy birthday to our Coast Guard coasties out there. I don't know.
There's only one more crazy heroic story that I know that's similar to that, but it doesn't get as much hype.
What's that?
Me surviving the shark attack.
Yeah. If you say so. Damn, Cannon Fodder 641 says, CannCon, if you muted your mic, your sound would be perfect. All right, well, fine. Alpha, the show is yours, bro.
There we go. So let's do this, folks. First of all, things are going to go a little bit different, okay? No, man, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to translate. I'm going to translate CannCon's thoughts. That's what I'm going to do.
Let's do this.
No, not made for sit rep. That's another conversation for another day. Let's get into the news, brother.
So there we go. Let's get into the news. President Trump. Oh, why am I getting an echo now? Oh no, it's back. Are you hearing that?
No.
All right, hold on. Oh no.
Yeah, my aggravator said echo.
Are you shitting me? StreamYard. I've never had the echo on my end.
Neither have I. I haven't.
Did you do that mix minus on your soundboard?
I have not. I did a recording with 3 people though yesterday, and I still didn't have it.
I'll be right back.
This is going to be very interesting, folks. As we work through these technical difficulties, please do us a solid. Smash the thumb, hit the heart, and share this out there. We're going to bring you the daily news. This is a pretty cool little anecdotal experiment, and he's fast too. Why is everybody so fast at doing that?
Yeah, I'm not as fast as Josh, but
no, you pretty much were. Like I got to know what I'm doing wrong.
You click Leave Studio. You click Leave Studio in the bottom,
right?
Back out, and then you just click back into the studio.
Yeah, mine's still. I had to click the options when I come in, and
oh no, you wouldn't have to click options. I don't know. All right, guys. Hopefully, this doesn't persist. I StreamYard. I'm about to try and find a different platform to use for this now. So let's get into the news here. And we got President Trump truthing out this last night. I was 28-1 last night on endorsements, and numerous of them were outliers. But if you studied the fake news, you would think it was just the opposite, 1 in 28. All they talked about was the one, and that's why they call it the fake news, President DJT. And here is the one. The Hill, Trump-backed Amir Hassan, falls short in Michigan House primary to take on McDonald Rivet. You know what's crazy about this race, Alpha?
Tell me.
The opponent that Hassan lost to dropped out of the race last month. And he lost by I think it was like 30 points. He got crushed by him. Politico put this out. Let's go over to Politico. Trump-backed candidate in battleground Michigan district loses to opponent who dropped out. Amir Hassan, a Navy veteran and former law enforcement officer, finished significantly behind Tom Smith in our very real elections. Smith had dropped out in mid-July and endorsed another candidate who ended up in the 3rd place in the primary. Smith said he would now return to challenge first-term Democratic Senator Representative Kristen McDonald Rivet for the purple 8th district. And then, of course, they're attributing it now to Hassan's name, saying that a GOP strategist granted anonymity to speak candidly said that Hassan had, quote, clear flaws as a candidate, end quote, and that the, quote, GOP base was reluctant to support a dude named Amir Hassan. Hassan is the first congressional candidate that Trump has endorsed to lose despite his endorsement this cycle.
Given, listen, very plausible theory right there. Given everything that's making the mainstream media and some alt media, very plausible theory with the name, man. I'm not going to discount that.
That's a really hard one for me to go through. Like, the guy dropped out. First and foremost, if you drop out of the race, you should not be eligible to come back. You can't like drop out and then win and be like, oh, I'm coming back. No. You're out. Right. If you drop out. Also, he shouldn't have appeared on the ballot. And I think somebody was mentioning this to me a while back, that this guy had dropped out. And I don't know if it was Michigan, but they were saying that they already printed the ballots. What do? Do they have to go print new ballots, or are you allowed to tell somebody at the poll that, hey, this person is not in the race, so don't vote for them because they dropped out? And I don't think you're allowed to do that as a poll worker. I don't know the laws, and I didn't write back because I don't know the laws. Like, I'm not going to give legal advice. That's what I mean.
An easy thing to do moving forward is establish what is the cost of the ballots. And if you drop out after the ballots have been printed, they're going to reprint new ones that don't have it, and your campaign's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
and that'll encourage people to drop by certain deadlines. If you're going to drop, you're going to drop.
Yeah. That's an interesting, I don't know. It's just that to me, like, even the name isn't enough. Like, somebody drops out.
That could be a strat. I mean, look, it could be a strategy. Go in there knowing wholeheartedly that you're going to drop out, but your name's going to stay on the ballot because it's going to affect the other candidate. Like, that's a strategy.
Well, there was a race, I think, in Alaska where the Democrat found somebody to run as a Republican in the primary up there that had the same exact name as another candidate, like the same exact name. And so now you've got, and they did rule that they're not putting that person on the ballot, but they would have had 3 candidates, or maybe more, but they would have had the Trump backed candidate who would have had somebody with the same exact name. And I think they were running against Murkowski. Maybe, I can't remember exactly, who it was.
I do
they were
remember
running
that
against, but yeah. Okay, Ash is in the chat, and she says, what if they drop after ballots are mailed? And she also said we could end mail-in voting, but we won't. So, also, she didn't say anything about me taking a shot at her microphone. So, I'm okay. I'm in the clear.
she probably conceded that argument. Again, have deadlines for dropping out, and it is what it is.
Well, let's stay on the name. Maybe that was a strategy by President Trump. Maybe that was a strategy ahead of this one right here from NBC News. Abdul al-Said wins Michigan Democratic Senate primary, notching a Midwest victory for the left. It's not for the left. It's for the far Democratic Socialist of America type candidate.
For the terrorists, bro. I'm going to say for the terrorists.
Abdul el-Said won a Michigan slugfest against Democratic Senator Representative Haley Stevens, Senate candidate Haley Stevens. Did you see the video on Haley Stevens?
Which one?
The van down by the river?
No.
Oh my God. Have you ever heard her talk?
Oh, maybe.
Okay, now I got to pull this up. Just because I don't know how this candidate could be taken seriously. Hold on. I got to pull this up. I apologize for going off here. Can you hear that? You can't hear that? Oh, great. The echo's going to come back then because I'm going to have to share the audio.
I'll mute.
No. It's fine. It's fine. We'll see if the echo comes back.
I am going to be telling the stories on our behalf. And you better believe I'm going to be doing it with a little bit of joy, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of energy, and a little bit of stick it to them. Because that's the Michigan way. I am going to.
In a van down by the river. I mean, is it any surprise that Saeed won against that?
Listen, I'll still take that over Saeed, but that's just because I'm probably still racist.
So El Saeed over. Oh no, it's
just
back. There
is it?
Yep. Now I think it's your soundboard because you haven't done the mix minus yet. Like I told you to yesterday. I'm blaming this on Alpha. I'll be right back.
Well, I would say, well, he's gone. We have two different versions of the soundboard, and I spoke to two other people that have the version that I have, and none of them are having the issues. I think it's the old Roadcaster, bro.
No, because me and Ash did fine yesterday. We tested it. We did a whole show together. Everything was fine. You're the only one that had. Well,
I talked to two other people that have the two, and one of them, they do constant podcasts with 4 people or more, and they're not having issues. All StreamYard.
I've emailed them, and I'm gonna tell them I want a freaking refund because I pay $800 a year for StreamYard, and I want a damn refund. More than that. I want a refund StreamYard. What's that?
I think it's a little bit more than that.
It's like $850, something like that. I just downgraded back to the normal one. All right. So I don't know how this is gonna work, but yeah, so El Saeed overcame nearly $65 million in outside money and beat the establishment. An establishment had rallied around Stevens. Whitmer endorsed Stevens as well. El Saeed will now go on to face Mike Rogers, and we can get into some of the commentary around this. We had Ronna McDaniel going on to talk to Fox News about this, and here's this clip here.
Keep in mind. That's right. We need 4 seats.
And there's an echo on this. I can't even deal with this right now. You're hearing that echo, right?
But the audience probably does. Does the audience hear it? Because I know some. Here's the other weird thing. Some people in the audience hear it and some don't.
I don't. And there's the echo again.
Yeah. I'm very curious to something. When it's
how about now? Nope, still echoing.
You do sound better though. But one of the things that I was going to say is when we play videos that are downloaded that we have them installed in StreamYard, I don't see an issue. So Brian, do this real quick. Play one of the installed videos. You don't have to finish it, but play like 5 or 10 seconds of an installed video. And this is probably why I don't have the issues when I do it.
What do you mean an installed? Like one of the ones on the side?
Like in the media. I don't have access to that stuff. You know, on the media side, like the way.
Yeah! Woo! Let's go!
Now, is there an echo?
A little bit. No,
I don't hear it. Yeah, because what I've been noticing, it's when it's a non-downloaded video and it's one that's off the browser.
We've never had problems with this before. Let me try if I do it through a window instead of through the Brave browser.
It's currently full. But one of the cities that was leaning Democrat was Michigan. And like, how do you look at that right now? If this is considered maybe a toss-up or even a lean toward Republicans, that makes this challenge in Alaska, Iowa, Maine, and Ohio so much more difficult. But just take the Michigan case.
Everybody's saying echo on this one.
I'm about to freak out on StreamYard.
No echo on the downloaded ones. Nobody heard an echo on the downloaded one. And that's remember I told you I'm not having this issue on my shows, and I think it's because of that because I pre-download like every clip.
Yeah, I can't pre-download. I haven't pre-downloaded in 4 years of doing this show. It's only this week, and it's happening to everybody. Everybody. StreamYard changed something.
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that change, it's affecting people playing audio through browser versus the audio that's actually uploaded into the studio.
All right, let me back out again. We'll just go without
Well,
audio.
no, here.
Videos.
Well, yeah, back out to reset yours, and then jump back in, and we will figure this out, folks. It's been frustrating, it's got to be frustrating. It is. I just want to say, at least I'm not echoing. Yours truly, right here, and hopefully he comes back. If he doesn't come back, well then I don't have none of his browser links for this, but we can definitely talk some news. It'll just be news my way. We'll just probably turn it into a just alpha conversation. All right. So now that you're back, I'm gonna back out. I'm gonna turn on the. Go ahead.
Ash just texted me and said, if Alpha can't hear it, then it's probably him, because when it happened to me, I couldn't hear the echo, and now I'm hearing the echo. I think you got to figure out that mix minus on your soundboard. I know we're the same.
I'll do it, but I'm just saying is it's affecting you guys when you do shows with us that have that, because I'm telling you, I did a recording yesterday, and obviously it hasn't aired yet, but I did a recording yesterday with 3 of us, and I checked for that.
Well,
and
it could be only a live thing.
Well, maybe that could have been an issue too. So, but I'm gonna back out, and I'll turn this on, and we'll come back in, or I'll come back in after that.
Can I play this clip here? And I'll play the whole clip. It's a little bit longer, but can you just Google real quick how to do the mix minus on the Roadcaster 2?
That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay. All right. So I will go ahead and play this real quick while Alpha tries to figure out how to take that setting off. Because whatever StreamYard did, they have completely shit the bed, in my opinion. And I'm apologizing. I apologize, guys. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. So here is Fox News talking about this El Sayed guy and what it's going to do potentially to the Republican, Senate, maintaining power in the Senate. The Democrat battle here, they had it kind of set up here where it's, the lean Democrat versus the toss-up versus the lean Republican states.
Toss-up or even a lean toward Republicans, that makes this challenge in Alaska, Iowa, Maine, and Ohio so much more difficult. But just take the Michigan case right now. If Mike Rogers were to take that seat from the Democrats, they need to go elsewhere in order to take control of the Senate. It seems at the moment that it's a much more difficult climb. How do you see it?
I absolutely agree. I mean, Chuck Schumer and the Democrat establishment, they were all in for Haley Stevens. She spent $60 million on TV. Syed spent $6 million on TV. They wanted her to be their nominee because this disrupts their path to the Senate. And one other thing, Bill, Michigan's a straight party ticket state. So you go vote R at the top of the ticket. We're one of 8 that still employs this. This helps us with the House, too, in districts like Tom Barrett, where they elected a DSA candidate against him last night. So this is going to help us across the board, not just in Michigan, but nationwide for prospects for Republicans in these midterms.
Mike Rogers was on the air about 2.5 hours ago. Now, this is what his race was against Alyssa Slotkin. He lost, but only lost by 0.3 percentage points. It was that close. And Ronna, many people are saying that the reason it was that close is because of what Donald Trump did all over in these rural areas in the Upper Peninsula. Do you think Mike Rogers runs this well in a race with Donald Trump's name not on the ballot?
When Donald Trump's on the ballot, more Michiganders turned out. It's just a fact. That's why it's harder in the midterms. That being said, Mike had a competitive primary challenge last time. He didn't. The competitive primary challenge has been on the Dem side this time in August. So now they've got to unite and try and mobilize. And let's see if these Haley Stevens voters come out for El Sayed. It has expanded the Republican map on who we can reach. I know, Bill, even in this primary, Republicans were crossing over to vote for Haley Stevens. They were that afraid of El Sayed. I was knocking doors over the weekend in high propensity Republican areas, and they were skipping the Republican primary altogether because in Michigan you can do that. And they were pulling a Democrat ballot to vote for Haley Stevens. That's how afraid of al-Sayed they were. So I think this absolutely puts Mike on the map.
So he has campaigned with Hassan Piker, right? Hassan Piker said America deserved 9/11. I'm from Ohio. I don't think Michigan's that different from Ohio.
No.
I don't know how it's going to fly, but go ahead and roll this. Soundbite number 3. Watch here.
Do you see a progressive lane materializing that goes through Michigan for 2028 after tonight?
Absolutely. But it's not just Michigan. This is just the beginning. These are never supposed to be swing states, and they will never be swing states ever again if I have something to do with it. We will hopefully continue this movement all across the United States of America. We'll go to every single state.
All right, so we can pause right there. I'm waiting on Alpha to get back in here. I have a walkthrough for him on how to do this and see if that fixes it. But in the meantime, let's see if we can get him in there. All right, in the meantime, so maybe that's why Amir Hassan lost there. Just an absolute like repudiation of the Islamic excuse me, of the Islamic sounding name. I don't know. Oh, hold on. Sorry, guys. We're dealing with a lot of technical difficulties this morning, and I am blaming it 100% on StreamYard. So let me see. Okay. So no, we're not there yet. Okay. I'm going to put that video back on while I try and figure something out.
So here's what's going to happen, Rana. Every Democrat is going to be asked whether or not they can support this. It's already happening, even before the vote yesterday. There's a Democratic congresswoman running in Kent County that I just showed, and she said, there's no way I can get behind Syed.
Right.
And she's Democrat now. Now, yesterday we had Debbie Dingell on. I've known Debbie Dingell for decades, and she took a different position. She said, if Syed wins, we must get behind him because we have to take back the Senate. I know Debbie Dingell is a friend of Israel. These are cross currents that I don't think the party has seen or experienced just yet. And we're about to find out how it goes. How do you see that one?
And he barely won, Bill. You know, so this was going to be this runaway train, and he barely won. And you know what he did? He doubled down on his extreme rhetoric because he brought Hassan Piker into campaign with him in the closing days. He brought this guy who said we deserve 9/11 into campaign with him. This is who al-Sayed is. But I want to do a little cautionary tale here. Republicans can't just say socialism or communism. We need to call these people what they are. They're anti-America. They are running on an agenda to get rid of our Constitution, the socialist movement, to get rid of the U.S. Senate. They are saying, Syed has said, Gaza is more important than Detroit. Okay, this is what we have.
All right, so we can pause that there. Let's go ahead and bring Alpha back on.
So
Did you figure it out?
two options. So if this one, it's either this one or the next one. So if this works, then good.
All right, let me pull this back up.
Have to fight. And where he had huge
Check.
wins last.
Check.
I mean, everything sounds the same
check.
to me still. So
Check. No echo. We're not getting an echo. So you took off the mix minus?
no, I put it on.
Oh, you put it on. Okay. So that's what it was.
Okay, so it's that one then.
Yeah, so it's
I just
the
gotta
mix
remember
minus.
which one so I could put it back to normal when I'm done.
I'm blaming Alpha now. I called him yesterday and I tried to walk him through it, but we have different soundboards. He's got the newer version, and I don't. So there we go. All right. So hopefully, and the recording is just a different procedure than the live or something.
Let me just try something real quick, or out of my curiosity for the audience, because if this still works, I'll just leave it. My apologies, folks.
Nah, it's all good.
This will only take a second to do it.
It's not your fault. StreamYard shit the bed on this. This is 100% on StreamYard. They changed something, nobody knows about it, and everybody is having on Badlands. I don't know about other podcasts. I think I've heard other podcasters, people saying other podcasts were having the same issue.
I just want to share something, and I want to know if my browser still work. I was going to put on our show, but then I don't know if people are going to be hearing it or hearing the replay. So here's a show that. So let me know if you guys hear this audio.
I thought they love veterans.
You just heard the DSA lady tell Daniel DiMartino that, hey, man.
Right. So did you hear that, CannCon?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I just need to know if the audience heard that.
If I heard it, I'm sure they did.
So sometimes. All right, so it sounds. Did you guys all hear Bongino? Bongino, because I know people are at different points in the show too. So if you heard Bongino, let me know.
Not at this point. Okay, so
okay, cool. All right.
All right. So let me play this clip here. So we just played Ronna McDaniel talking about, or the Fox News guy, I don't even know his name, going on and saying, I talked to Debbie Dingle, and Debbie Dingle's like, we got to rally behind El Sayed, whatever his name is. We got to rally behind him. And I know she's a friend of Israel. And now we've got this from MS Now on the other side.
Spent 11-1 in this primary race. Republicans now see that as more winnable. This is the candidate they wanted. They're going to throw a ton of money at this to try to flip this seat. So I think people who are looking at this, particularly some Democrats who I've talked to, who are hoping that he will moderate some of his positions. I think one of the key ones to point to that he is not going to, you just heard him talking about Israel. And I want to tell you really quickly, as I was getting on the plane this morning, a guy who is a big fan of MS Now said to me, I'm anxious to see who wins. And I said, oh, did you vote? And he said, yes, I voted for Haley Stevens. And I said, oh, why? And he said, well, because of Israel. And I don't like the position that Abdullah Sayed has on Israel. And in fact, if he wins, I will be voting for Mike Rogers. And you could not get more far apart, right, from two candidates than Mike Rogers and even Haley Stevens. But it's going to be interesting to listen to that, because this has been a primary conversation within this campaign. A campaign, though, that they clearly are celebrating. They have won. But let's be clear, while this is a...
Okay, so I don't know what she says after that. That's where that clip ends. The idea that a blue-blooded Democrat would abandon their own party and vote for a guy like Mike Rogers simply because of the Israel issue is fascinating to me. Again, I get the other stuff, and we're going to play the clip here of Kyle Shidler talking about the Muslim Brotherhood ties and all that stuff. But you want to comment on that before we get into the next clip?
It is. I don't know how popular it is. I think the issue with the Israel is there's the extreme Israel ideology that a lot of these people pose, right? And then there's the Israel, like the government, AIPAC, Mossad. There's that portion of it, which I do 100% agree with the issue there. But there's people that just want to blanket, say, the entire country of Israel to include its population. I completely disagree with that. But you have a lot of these extremists that are running for positions in the government where they have the mentality of, they get pissed when Trump says he's going to glass Iran, but they want to glass Israel. And there's an issue with that too. That's an extremist ideology, and I do not agree with that.
Well, I don't want to glass anybody.
Well, again, I wouldn't either, because there's good people in Iran.
I agree 100%.
But it's those extremist ideologies there.
So he said I don't know anything about this guy other than just the stuff that's out there in the mainstream. So he said that he wants to glass Israel.
No. I'm not putting words in his mouth.
Okay.
I'm saying that this is the issue when it comes to that conversation.
Gotcha. Because a lot of people are saying he wants to cut funding to Israel, which I stand with 100%.
Yeah, 100% with that.
And
but also cutting funding to every other country.
Well, he said that too.
That exists.
And I had to look that up. He said, I also want to cut funding to Saudi Arabia, Egypt, where he's allegedly from, and a couple other places. But it wasn't just Israel. And so I'm wondering if that's the talking point that's being rolled out, because this race, and again, I'm not taking a side one way or the other. If I was in Michigan, I would vote for Mike Rogers. Every 9 times out of 9, not even out of 10. 10 times out of 10, I would vote for Mike Rogers. Not a fan of Mike Rogers at all. I think he is the epitome of establishment politicians, and I'm not a fan. And I think it's unfortunate that, on the GOP side of things, that is the candidate that we're stuck with. But I would take that over this El Sayed guy, not because of any of the religious connotations, although that does definitely weighs in, but just because he's a commie. The guy is a straight up commie. But at the same time, I see this like battle unfolding where it's like, when you have MS Now saying, oh, I'm a Democrat, but I'm going to vote for Mike Rogers because this guy doesn't like Israel. And it's like, holy crap. Is that where we're at? Or is the media, again, this is an anecdotal story coming from MS Now. Is that really a true story? Did she actually have that conversation? I'm going to go with probably not. But the Mockingbird media has, you know, they control both sides of the narrative in this regard.
Well, you had people saying that they were going to vote Democrat because Trump wanted to bomb Iran. You've had both. So
bombing Iran is a little different than somebody's position. You know, I can understand that, although I also believe that, you know, there's nuance to that. But let's
see, that's the thing is there's nuance to both of them. And
Right.
it sucks because, you know, like, you know, we don't really do it so much, but, you know, I've done shows with other people where you have, you know, you feel this obligation to preface it with, hey, when I'm talking about Israel, I'm talking about the government, I'm talking about the intelligence agency. And the reason being is because you've had these people that have adopted this extremist mentality where they just want to, you know, blanket, you know, guilt association by everybody to their government. And the argument I've always had with people to prove this point, they're like, no, it's I go, okay, imagine if Putin during Biden's administration said, I'm going to nuke all of America because of America's position on Ukraine. All of us would be like, time out, Putin. Like, I don't support this. And so if that kind of, you know, issue exists in our country, you don't think it exists in other countries?
I don't disagree with that. All right, so let's play this clip here. This was Kyle Schidler, and I think this was like a week ago. When was this? This was put out. Let's see. Eric Daughtry put this out. This was, doesn't have a date on it, but this is talking about this El Sayed guy.
Abdul El Sayed's candidacy.
By the way, not lost on me that it's Ted Cruz asking this question. The guy who said, if you don't stand with Israel, I can't stand with you, to his constituents in Texas.
Clown.
Yeah, absolute clown.
For senator in Michigan concern you?
Yes, sir, it does.
Why is that?
Well, to begin with, I look at the connections that his father-in-law, Chakaku Tayyib, has to Brotherhood-linked groups. This includes being the president at one time of CARE Michigan, also his presence on the Islamic Society of North America Founders Committee, which is only for those most exclusively devoted to ISNA and provides significant amounts of funding. There are other known Brotherhood members on that committee. I would also look at El Sayed's ties to a group called Mgage, which purports to be a Muslim sort of get out the vote or candidate recruitment organization, but it has close ties to CARE. It was created by a former CARE member who at one time was on a terror watch list and was also a consultant to convicted terrorist Sami al-Arian.
Do you believe the Islamic Society of North America, or ISNA, is an ongoing part of the Muslim Brotherhood network in the United States?
Yes, sir, I do. There were some HLF documents that reflected hesitation by the Brotherhood that they thought perhaps they were losing control.
Okay. So I will give you your take. I mean, I don't subscribe to the whole, that Muslim, that's all a construct of MI6. That's all British intelligence. So
I disagree.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I agree, and that's probably who created it, but it doesn't mean
still runs it.
and still runs it. But it doesn't mean that it's not a real issue here in the United States.
No, I don't disagree with that.
And here's the thing is, and people know the same way I talk about AIPAC and Israeli government, I talk about the Muslim Brotherhood and the Islamic extremists in our country. All people have to do right now is go to the devil's Google and look in your state how many mosques exist now, and then go look at how many mosques exist in 1980, and it will terrify you. So is there a Muslim takeover coming into the United States? The answer to that is yes. It's supported by facts that all of us can go look up. And you don't even, if you really want, say, well, the devil's internet can lie, then print out those addresses and drive there. And when you drive there, look at the parking lots. It don't matter what day of the week it is. Look at the parking lots, because I've done it here in SoCal. And I'll tell you what, a lot more devoted than Catholics and Christians. I'll tell you that much. Because in those religions, you got to know what day. I'm telling you, it don't matter what day of the week you go on these mosques, you're going to find those parking lots pretty populated. And so,
Yeah,
what
I
does that?
Oh, keep
Go
going.
ahead.
Keep going. No, keep
So,
going.
so what does that say? That there is an exponential growth of Islam in the United States. Some people might be okay with it. I'm not, and I don't care what people's position is on that, because Islam, in my opinion, well, not my opinion. This is what it's factual. I've seen it. Islam is not compatible with Western culture. So one of them is going to give, and whichever one is the majority, most likely will win. But again, we've seen minorities that can become very violent and influence a majority. So who knows where it's at there. So again, who you want to go into the conversation is, why do we have such a large Muslim population here in the United States? Go look at two guys that wrote that bill, and they're both Jewish. I'm not going to discount that. So my argument's not who created it. My argument's not even who's facilitating it. My argument is that it is real. And because it is real, it's an issue that has to be dealt with.
How much of that you think is going to disappear when they start deporting the Somalis, the Sudanese, the Ethiopians, the all of these TPS factions that have been, and those are going to have trickle down effects. It's not just going to be the people that are here on the TPS. It's going to be people that were family members that have, since been born here in the United States and have the citizenship. We need to get that birthright citizenship overturned.
I agree.
Like we need to pass that law to define them as invaders and have them taken out on, in that regard. This is something that was never intended to be. And I'm with you on that. The only thing that I would push back on is that you say, and I agree that it's not compatible with Western culture, but I think that's because of a lot of the influence that the intelligence, the Wahhabists have had on those regions and bringing it over here. I know plenty of Muslims down here in South Florida that are every day, like you would never even know they're Muslim.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I've known a guy for years, and it wasn't until recently that I even found out he's Muslim. So I agree with you completely. The problem is and I think he actually watches our show, so I'm not insulting you, bro. But this is just my assessment. They also concede, though, to the larger. They're not going to push back against the larger population of the Muslims that don't necessarily share their assertions. And like I said, I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way. It's just that's what it is. But to answer your question, I think we will see some immediate relief to that, but that doesn't solve the problem. It'll solve the problem temporarily in Trump's administration, but eventually these people are going to trickle back into the United States unless the root issue is dealt with, which goes into a whole nother conversation of, we got to get the intelligence apparatus out of these other countries to where they control their government. And I think this is what Trump's doing. He's creating economic prosperity, because prosperity is what's going to end the immigration issue. So yes, I want Trump to get rid of all the temporary holdovers. I want him to do all that. I want all the H-1 visas gone. Like, I want all that. But I also acknowledge that doesn't solve the problem. The only problem is making these people want to stay in their countries.
Well, that's the immigration portion of that community is what is being dealt with right now, and I think that's going to have a significant impact on that. The people that you and I were talking about earlier that have assimilated to American culture, they still have their own religion, and we are still a nation of freedom of religion. Period, plain and simple. And whether you're a Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever you are, you have your right to your free religion. The problem is the people that are focused that you're focused on that you're referring to they haven't assimilated, but that's because they've only been here, the last 20 years, 10 years, whatever the case might be. I think those days are numbered for those people. When TPS goes away, so do they. I'm just curious to see what it looks like after that takes place, again, one of the big things about the Somali fraud that's been exposed is how these, folks, so the birth rate, you've heard the birth rate problem, like the birth rate of European culture and American culture is like down below 2. Well, in the Muslim culture, it's up around 7 or 8, right? And when you take away that, like, that's not sustainable in America for an immigrant family. How does an immigrant family in America have 8 kids and manage to, to survive? Go ahead.
The other issue with it too, I watched the video on it, because that's not something we would see or our kids would see necessarily. I mean, we can see a little bit of it, but we don't see the part where, oh, this is now a concern, unless you go and study the math like you're talking about. But the curve on the way this works, as one population, let's just say, Anglo-Americans keeps going down, right? Hispanic Americans keeps going down, and theirs goes up. Well, as theirs goes up, they also start to, have children with the people of these nationalities. And as that happens, that consistent curve turns into a skyrocket.
Yep.
A skyrocket. And that's something that our grandkids would definitely, it'd be in their lifetime. They would see that. Like, once it happens, it's very quick.
Yep.
And I just wanted to say something to that point is, what makes our America great is the freedom of speech and the, freedom of religion that makes this country great. The problem with it is it's been weaponized against us because our elections have been taken over. And so, do I want us to be a nation of free speech and free religion? Yes. But we're also seeing that our elections are being taken over so that free religion can be weaponized against us, so that we're saying, well, we're free religion, so if America wants Islam, it'll have Islam. No, that's not true. Because I'll tell you right now, if you go and talk to every American, they'll reject it. So then why is it so pronounced in our country? Because of the main, what me and you, I think, have always agreed on, the core issue in this country is we have compromised elections.
Yeah, I agree. So President Trump mentioned this candidate the other night, and let's go ahead and play his speech about El Said.
Frankly, they're lunatics. They're crazy, and we can't let them get into office. Communism is the greatest threat to our country in its history, including even World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, 9/11. I think it's the greatest threat. I could be the greatest communist in history. I tell everybody here, would you like a free house? We'll take one from your neighbor. Would you like free rent? We'll take it from whoever. We'll take your building away from the landlord that makes 2%, and we'll run the building ourselves. What they don't say, and what Republicans should say, is that at the end of a year, you'll have nothing but death, squalor, poverty. You'll have a life of hell. And that's what happens every single time. You look at Venezuela, where it was such a rich country 20 years ago, 22 years ago, and it happened, and we've really helped them, and we're going to help them. But they're lucky because they're sitting on massive oil reserves. But we are going to help the people that we want to help. But every time this has happened, and you do that, you go through squalor, and add the word again: filth, crime, death, destruction, embarrassment. You lose your home, you lose your apartment, and that's where the communists will take us 100%. When I watch Abdul, he's full of shit. So, if you remember, during my State of the Union speech from a little while ago, I made a very strong statement. I said that America will never be a socialist country. And I was right. What I didn't say is what they're trying to do. They want to skip socialism. They want to go right down to the bottom of the barrel. That's communism. They want it to be a communist country. We're not letting them have it as a communist country, not even for a minute. Not even for a minute. Together, we will defeat communism, socialism, and Marxism in America once and for all. It's defeated. It's going to go down. It always goes down, but sometimes it takes a lot of people with it. It takes too long. You got to nip it in the bud. The Democrat communists in Congress claim to stand for working people, but every single one voted against our tax cuts. They voted against securing the border. They wanted open borders. The Democrats voted against securing the border. They want to raise your taxes to levels that you've never had to pay before. Remember this. They want to raise your taxes. You know, all my life I've been watching politics, and I never knew I'd be doing this. Who the hell ever thought I'd be doing it? But all my life I've been watching, and every politician, Democrat, Republican, they always said, we will cut your taxes, even if they didn't have any intention of doing it. They always say it. You know, I said, that guy is lying. He's not telling the truth. But I'd watch, we will cut your tax. These guys say we will raise your tax. They say we're going to raise your taxes. I never heard of anything. And then they actually get votes. The whole thing is crazy.
Probably because our elections are stolen, Mr. President. You know that. You know that. Why do you think a guy that wasn't even on the ballot beat your candidate? Although that is fascinating. Did he back Amir Hassan knowing that he was going to probably lose that election in Michigan? And he's the only one that they lost. And so now by the way, he doesn't mention anything about, Islam when he's going after El Said, which I'll focus on the communism. I'm not going to get into the whole, I'm a freedom of religion absolutist. The chat hates me for it, and I don't care. That's all right.
Listen,
don't care.
They don't hate you for that. They hate you because you recognize Islam as a religion when it's a political party that's adopted religious concepts.
Okay. Well, so is Santeria.
That's
and I
why
still
they're mad at you.
recognize that, but it is what it is. Also, none of them have ever actually lived in a Muslim country like I have for 14 months. So there's that too.
Some of them may have.
Some of them may have. Some of them may have. And if you have, I respect your opinion a lot more than those who never have. Also, I'm with you 100% on, the ones that are, here under TPS status, that are here as illegal immigrants, as immigrants that are here under some facade of a bullshit excuse that they're here. I'm with you on that. The Somalis, the Ethiopians, the Sudanese, all of those people, TPS needs to end.
Ash says, Alpha, you're making a regulatory argument for religion. Go look at their leader, the religion that's based off. He was a politician. Islam is a political party that's adopted religious concepts. That's not a regulatory argument. That's factual.
It's theocratic. They live the same way that ours would live by the 10 commandments if we could, but we have freedom of religion and separations of church and state. So we don't. But if we could, we would. Absolutely, we would. And I would be okay with it. If we adopted, I'd be okay with that. I mean, we'd have to talk about the Constitution at that point, and
we'd also have
go
a
through the
religious
processes.
war.
But what's that?
We'd also have a religious war in this country if we did that.
Agreed.
And I'd be okay with that because then let the stronger one win.
Agreed. I don't disagree
But that's but then we're going away from the Constitution, and we're there. Listen, someone sent me an email the other day, and they're like, Alpha, you're such a why are you afraid? Because they said that by me saying don't vote, it's going to lead to kinetic conflict. Why are you so afraid of that? I'm like, bro, if you think I'm against it because I'm afraid of it, you've missed it. I'll survive. My family's going to survive. But do you understand the carnage and death that would be in our country if something like that unfolded? It's not about whether I and mine will survive. It's what's in the best interests of the entire population. And here, let's just be frank, folks. The vast majority of men in America do not know how to fight like me or CannCon or some of you vets that are in the chat. They don't. They do not understand that concept. They have been trained and programmed through school that if you ask for mercy, that then you'll be okay. And every one of us has seen what happens when you rely on the violent to have mercy. So not to go into the segue, but just
no, you're good. You're good.
Address that.
All right, so let's focus more on the Democratic Socialist side of it. And here's everybody's favorite Democrat, John Fetterman, talking to Hannity. Now, this clip is just saying the quiet part out loud. The next one is the one that I think is really interesting.
Why is the silence so deafening among your other Democrats?
Well, I mean, they're afraid of them, honestly. I mean, they can say that in politics. You can define what you're afraid of if you're unwilling to criticize them. So now, I think it's entirely appropriate. I think it's a responsibility as a Democrat to call this out.
Okay, so that's been an ongoing theme with this whole thing. Like we've talked about this all week.
That's
Schumer
so not
refusing
Fetterman, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if
He's
it
wearing
is
his
or
suit. It's I just.
Okay, so that was Fetterman there talking about, you know, the Democrats' reluctance or refusal to call out the DSA, and I'm with him on that. I think if you're going to call it out, call it out. You know, I wish the Republican establishment would call out MAGA. Some of them do, and those people can kick rocks. Also, the Republicans suck. Oh my goodness, I hope Christ-like is like way behind because they just said echoes in the YouTube chat. So I hope they're way behind. Because are we getting echoes again?
If you're watching, I'm waving. So if you're watching me wave, that means you're current, at least within the last 30 seconds on YouTube.
No, the chat would be blowing up if there were echoes, so we're good. So they're just on a delay. That's so messed up. If you're on a delay, if you're on a delay in a podcast, don't comment about issues that are taking place at that moment, because then you're going to throw the whole show into a crazy circle like it is right now. Let's bring us back to Fetterman here, and this is the part that I find fascinating.
Bernie's not flipping seats. He is helping install volatile and dangerous kinds of candidates and now put, you know, Democratic seats at risk. You know, I flipped seats. Now, he's never done that thing. You know, I'm tired of his lectures, you know, overall. And now he claims that he's not a member of the Democratic Party. You know, why can't the DSA people just, you know, they should just run and there's their own party. And now I think it's important to remind people, you know, who is driving a lot of this conversation. But I just like.
So that is the fascinating part to me. And that is part of the continuing fracturing of the two establishment parties, the GOP and the Democrats. Both of them are about to get obliterated. The GOP just don't know it's coming yet. Theirs is coming after the midterms. They still are a useful
We're going to see
vessel.
hints of it in midterms, but they're done 2028. They're gone.
We are getting a ton of hints of it. The Democrats are absolutely floundering right now.
They're bankrupt, bro.
They're bankrupt.
I got 5 on it. I got 5 on it. It's like, nope.
Yeah, but you saw what the Republicans just did in the Appropriations Committee, right? Did
What'd
you
they
read
do?
my article
No.
yesterday? Oh
No.
man, you got to read my article. You got to go back and read my article.
Give me the highlight on this point.
Highlight. They rescinded the OMB rule that Russ Vogt got passed.
What's the OMB rule?
Requiring accountability, traceability all the way down to the local level for grants, federal grants that went out.
Why would you get rid of that?
Because that's where they get all their money from. They don't get their money from us. We don't
No,
donate to these establishment.
But how do you make the argument for getting rid of that?
You can't, and that's why it was a featured article all day yesterday, because people need to be talking about this and calling their senators and saying, why the hell would you take away a rule? And we're not talking, Alpha, we're not talking about, you know, $5 million, $100 million, $1 billion, $712 billion in 2024 that is unaccounted for all the way down at the local level. Once it gets to the state, the federal government's like, kaput, don't need to look at it anymore. I don't need to know. And that's what funds both of these parties. And the Republicans cucked like a little dude sitting in the corner. They pissed me off with that, man.
They're compromised.
Absolutely compromised.
It's like well, the update on the Next Door Neighbor app, for those that are wondering, I've been suspended. And the final one that got me was arguing with the lady, and she's like, "You're just an election denier." So I said, "So we voted to raise our taxes in California. That's what you're saying?" And it's just, yeah. I think I lasted like 4 or 5 days, but there's the update, folks. I got suspended.
So that's my point, and how the Democrats are trying to keep their head above water here. They're going to keep those federal grants flowing down to these NGOs that give the kickbacks to their politicians that allow these grants to go out to those NGOs, and it's a perpetuating cycle of money laundering.
It's crazy.
That never ends.
I see that as the equivalent of Newsom making it against the law to investigate the elections. The only one reason you do something like that is to cover something up.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Yeah, absolutely. And so again, I think and I've been saying this for quite some time, that Trump is waging a covert war against the GOP, an overt war against the Democrats. And the DSA, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. You know, I don't want to partner with them, but at the same time, if that is the vessel that destroys the Democratic Party, so be it. So be it. Also, they're not going to be able to stand on their own when they're done either. So this is a majority conservative country, 70, 75, 80%, maybe more. Who knows?
You'll see as people's confidence build in elections, because we take them back, you're going to see more normal, everyday Americans running for government. And that's going to be a beautiful thing, man, because they're not going to be, they're not going to be afraid of exactly what you talked about. What'd you say? 700 billion?
712 billion. That is
you're not going to have 712 billion plus being waged in elections against the normal everyday American. You know, I look forward to that, man.
So do I, more than anything. And the whole entire cycle, I mean, it's not like they just go in and steal elections. They go in, they steal the media, they steal every facet of our lives is manipulated by whether it's corporate money, government money, intelligence, influence, whatever the case might be. Almost every aspect of our lives are influenced by these people propagandizing us to believe that there is some sort of a divide in this country, propagandizing us that we have to be in the tribal buckets and we have to be this side against that side. And I'm praying that it all comes to an end. Also, I understand that Mike Rogers is not the guy that's going to get us there, but in the meantime, he's better than El Said. So I will concede that. All right, we ready to move on from all of that and get into some elections?
Let's go. It's a good transition point. So let's roll.
Asawa Vana, right? All shows are why we vote now. So there was another D class in the White House this morning.
Here comes Arizona, baby.
Arizona. I had an article all ready to go this morning. I may have had a little nudge.
You in the chat, Clay? You're on deck now, Clay.
No, it's not. This wasn't Clay. I can't reveal my sources, but
no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Maricopa County. So
so check this out. This is an old story. I honestly, this post is getting a lot of recognition, and I did not know that it was going to get this, because this is a story we've known about for a long time. New White House D class this morning. Nothing crazy, but the Maricopa County Recorder's voter registration data was hacked in 2020. This appears to be the Elliot Kerwin hack from November of 2020 that was investigated by the FBI and then poof, vanished. We all knew that. That's been reported. I've written about it. Many others have written about it. But we did not know that there were 633,000 voter files, including 930 that were, quote, sensitive non-public data, meaning these are victims of domestic violence and other, people. Me and Ash had Marissa Caldwell on Why We Vote a couple months ago. We got to get her back on, actually. Maybe, Ash, remind me to reach out to her about Why We Vote for this Tuesday with the Maricopa release here. But, she was telling us that she was she was one of those protected people. And they, I don't want to get into it, but she said it publicly. They, threatened her, essentially, Adrian Fontes, when he was the recorder in Maricopa County. It's a crazy story. So we'll get that story back out. Okay, but most importantly, Alpha, here's the absolutely crazy part. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Arizona, the Arizona Attorney General, who was a Republican at the time, he's dead now, the Maricopa County District Attorney, and the Pima, I said Pima, it's actually Pinal, the Pinal County District Attorney, all declined to prosecute this guy, despite having the evidence and a confession.
Insane.
He confessed to going in there. So now what this guy did is he went in there and he was able to write a PowerShell script that basically stole data, and he was backing it all up into a on a hard drive. He was scrubbing all this data, putting it on a hard drive, all this craziness. Then let me get into the FBI report right here. So here's the 302 interview that he did with the FBI. And So it says here that he provided a final statement, said he was 100% accountable for his actions and was deeply regretful. And again, I'm assuming I'm going to say the hacker. I'm just going to call him the hacker because his name's redacted. So I'm 99.9% sure that it's that story. Redacted apologized and commented that he has to deal with the consequences of his action. The special agent invited the special agents in to sit in his backyard for a non-custodial interview. Agents explained that to Redacted that he was not going to be arrested. Approximately 30 minutes into the interview, agents advised Redacted that a search warrant had been issued for his residence. The special agents stepped outside of the and Redacted stepped outside the residence to the driveway while the agents cleared the home for safety precautions prior to executing the search warrant. Then it goes on. Well, it goes on to talk about, some other things, but that's not the key takeaway. Now, here's the craziest part, Alpha. You were law enforcement. What would happen if you were about to execute a search warrant and the guy told you in an interview, "Oh, I knew you guys were coming, so I deleted everything"? Like, what would you do as a law enforcement officer at that point?
he'd be taken into well, at minimum he would be detained. But before we even hit the house, I would start with the interview there, and if he lawyered up, well, then that would be the end of it. But I would be securing more search warrants based off that information.
So check this out. The guy said that he knew he would get a visit from law enforcement. Redacted said he expressed that looking for vulnerabilities was a hobby and described himself as a hacker or a tinkerer. Redacted stated that he has not conducted recent hacking activity in which he would like to confess. Said he has not conducted recent activity in which he would like to confess. However, Redacted's first quote unquote highlight moment happened while attending blah blah blah. So then it says he did not considered telling the news about his actions, but thought it was better kept a secret as it would have brought down a quote unquote shitstorm during the elections. He did not tell anyone of his activities, including his wife. Redacted scrubbed and formatted the hard drives with stored records and deleted any stored files from his Google Cloud. So in the paragraph before, the guy's saying, yeah, I knew law enforcement was going to come and knock on my door. Also, I'm doing this because I want to be the good citizen and I want to show that there's exploitations. Also, I'm not telling the news about it. I'm not telling my wife about it. I'm not going to law enforcement first. I'm just doing it. And then when I get caught, I'm deleting it all. How the fuck was this guy not prosecuted?
Here's the thing. If it's in the cloud, they can get it. If it's on his computer, he can get it. Even the best hacker can't clean the entire digital footprint as much as people may think. So they have access to I won't say everything, but they have access to the majority of information, or at least information that suggests what it was, what existed. I mean, here's the answer to your question, because if you prosecute them, you gotta dive into what this stuff was. It's like when you go into a photo. Where did this photo come from? Who's the original person that took this photo? Was it on your social media? Well, in this case, where'd this data come from? How did you get access to it? You're gonna have to you have to go down the playbook of how he did it, and in that playbook, you show all the vulnerabilities that they're all denying that exists. So they're not going to prosecute him.
Right. And all four, despite having a confession, said nope, we're not going to prosecute it. Now, you could make the argument that this guy was getting publicly accessible information, except there's 930 records that were deemed sensitive, that were, not public information. So somehow he was not simply just going on there and just getting publicly available information. And so the way the script was described in the interview is he was taking random voter numbers and had a PowerShell script that was going in and putting a URL in with all these different numbers, and just every file that was pulled up, he was extracting and storing on a hard drive offsite somewhere or whatever. this is first and foremost, even if you say, well, it's publicly available and he just figured out a way to exploit it, sure, then go to somebody and talk about the exploitation. He didn't do that. So there is no, the whole white hat trying to be a good guy. There is nothing for there, right? As soon as he saw that, you have an obligation, right? Like that'd be like going to an ATM and like figuring out how to extract money from an ATM and just going in and taking millions of dollars out of that ATM. And then when you get caught, you throw all the money away and you're like, I was eventually going to tell you guys, like, I'm doing this for the good of the ATM company.
Let me provide an analogy to kind of make it make sense for people. 'Cause I agree with you completely. There's an argument to be made on, what his legal obligation was. There's an argument there. But aside from that, I agree with you on everything. Imagine this. I go and I pull over a car and I get permission to search that car. And, in the trunk of the vehicle, I find a stereo box and I run the serial number and it comes back stolen. And the person in the car says, I didn't know. I just bought it at a garage sale. You're like, all right, that's believable. But let's just say that in the course of this investigation, I decide to roll back a search warrant to this person's house. And when I go to the house, inside the garage, there's 15 other stereo boxes, and there's boxes of rims, and there's TVs, and there's computers, and they all come back stolen. At that point, the argument of, well, I bought all this stuff at different garage sales goes out the door, and it's just like, no, this is a much different situation. This is that. We're not talking 10 or 15, of people. What was it, like 600 and some thousand?
633,000. And that's what the FBI says. He says it's 1 to 2 million.
Yes.
He says that in the interview. He's like, I got 1 to 2 million files. So we know about the 633,000. That's what Patel put in the letter. What's the actual number and what is that information? There's a lot of WTFs about this, man. And the fact that nobody wanted to prosecute it, the fact that this guy was operating in complete and total secrecy, was not trying to be a white hat, was not going out there and telling the authorities, like the second he was able to do it, he should have reported that. He should have went to the Maricopa County Recorder and said, do you guys know you have an exploit on your website? Look what I'm able to do immediately. And he did not. There's no reporting that he did that.
I'd be very curious if we ever even get to see it. But if the original FBI investigators knew what he had in the 1 million files, and they did what you said, and well, let's see if he did break the law, and they not only did a cursory search of information that they knew was open to the public information. This way they could be like, okay, no, we searched these files and this is all stuff that's open to the public. So this is why we're going to decline prosecution. If that's the case, because I could see that being the setup for the cover up, then I would look at, was this a random selection? If you got 1 million files, you're not just going to do the first 10,000. You're gonna spot check it throughout the entire thing. I get it as an investigator for probable cause. You're not going to go through 1 million files up front. So I'd be very curious to see if that's the argument that's made, how they selected the files, and if you start seeing files that are like sporadic, I'm telling you statistically, and not coming in contact with the ones that are not public, I wouldn't buy that.
Let me, oh man, please buy me 2 seconds. Actually, let me see. Do I have a video coming up here? No, I don't. Shit. I gotta bring this back up because this is so important, because this is, I want to see this as the next D-class document. Because when you see this, so this is a story that we have talked about for a long time. I just reshared because I had some idea that this was maybe coming. And so I reshared whatever happened to this guy, right, yesterday. And here's the next story I want to talk about, and I can't find it. Do you remember Jesse Morgan?
Doesn't sound familiar.
Jesse Morgan was the truck driver. As soon as I say it, you know, the 250,000 ballots that he was carrying in his Gaylords from New York to Pennsylvania, and his trailer disappeared, and he became a whistleblower, and he got with Phil Klein of the Amistad Project, and was, whatever. The United States Postal Inspection Service came out and put out a report about what happened to Jesse Morgan. They said this is debunked, right? That nothing happened. Have you ever read that report, Alpha?
I have not.
I'm trying to find it because let me Let me see if I can find it real quick. Because this is important. Because what we knew about Elliot Kerwin, left us wanting. We were like, what in the hell is going on with this story? Why was this guy raided? And, they tried to keep it from everybody. They tried to hide everything. And, it turns out that we were lied to flat out. There's no other way to describe it other than we were lied to. And so when you think about that and you look at this, I found the report. I apologize, guys. I should have had this ready to go. So here is, how do I make it full screen? Oh, there it is. View full screen. Duh. Here's the report on Jesse Morgan. Okay, let me zoom out. And I'm just going to scroll through it. We're not going to read it. I'm just going to scroll through it. By the way, the parts that aren't redacted are the simple shit like, oh, yeah, he got in his truck and he was driving. I want to know what's under those redactions. I want to know what's under those redactions because Jesse Morgan still stands by his story. Phil Klein still stands by the story. What is under those redactions in that report right there? I mean, you've got entire pages on this report.
It's a lot of redactions for a crime not existing.
For a crime that never existed. For a guy that drove a truck and nothing ever happened, right? So if anybody out there, is listening to this show, let's get the Jesse Morgan story told. Let's get the Government Transparency Task Force to investigate that. And a lot of people are paying attention to this story, and that's a good thing. Carrie Lake put it out. Does anyone really believe this level of corruption has ceased in Arizona? It hasn't. It's even worse today. Jeff Clark, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General for President Trump, he reposted my thing, my story, saying, breaking news, here's the big reveal. Not only did Iran hack the 2020 election, not only did China hack millions of voters in 2020, not only did we learn Venezuela can use machines to flip votes, as the president announced in a rare White House evening address, but today, through declassified documents, we learned that a hacker purloined hundreds of thousands of voter files out of Maricopa, which just so happens to be one of the key battleground states. And then General Flynn actually reposted that and said POTUS should hire Jeff Clark to run an election security reform task force if it's not too late. How about you let somebody that's been studying the election for 6 years get in there and tell you where to look for classified documents, redactions, and what to look at for that. I've been studying this up and down. Somebody give me a call, man, because if you're not looking at the Jesse Morgan stuff right now, you're failing miserably. And there's a lot of other stuff out there that's been heavily redacted over the years. But anyways, before I move on from that, anything else you want to add?
No, it's solid. I want to read it, actually.
How about South Korean elections being stolen? I've read this. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this guy here, attorney Park Jo-yeon, put this out. South Korea's election fraud is as severely manipulated as California's in the United States. They employ every possible method: voter rolls, mail-in ballots, forged ballots, vote counting manipulation, Chinese election interference, and more. President Trump is well aware that even rooting out election fraud in the U.S. is a headache. If America's California could eliminate its election fraud, one could say that election fraud in the United States would practically vanish. They will win the upcoming midterm elections as well. They would win. And so this is a guy here, just to give you a quick, he's a Korean lawyer, co-chair of the Korea-U.S. election fraud joint investigation team for the Korean side. Interesting, for the Korean side. Representative of the Korea-U.S. Leaders Forum, president of the Free Lawyers Association, former special inspector general of the Blue House, and former aide to vice speaker of the National Assembly. So Korea election fraud has entered the chat.
Y'all watch South Korea. If y'all watch Operation Gladio, the whole South Korea thing, you're like, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
World's going to change when elections become secured. The world is going to change.
I can't.
The optics of our culture and where it's at, all based off corrupt elections. When we have representatives in places of representation, we are going to see what society actually wants.
Let's go.
It's just
all right. We
fired
got
up.
another story here. Well, it's not a story, so I'll let you give your take. We talked about it yesterday. I just surface level on the Oxford comma thing. This is getting interesting.
It is, bro. It is. And I'm trying to, you said that story's from today, right?
Which story?
The one that you just did that everybody's sharing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I'll go back. Maybe I went past it, but I was trying to look for it and I can't find it.
It's on, you mean on Gateway?
Oh, I was looking on your actual profile.
The FBI thing?
The one that right there that Harry Lake reposted and
Yeah. That's on my X right now.
yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
It's got a siren emoji.
Okay.
Let's pause right here. And hit our final two sponsors for the show.
Your bank kept 16.
That is not the final two sponsors. It just looks exactly the same.
Soft Disclosure deodorant is made with purity-tested ingredients like organic arrowroot powder, magnesium hydroxide, and nourishing plant oils. This deodorant keeps you fresh without covering up the truth. Activated charcoal works like a magnet to help draw out impurities, while green matcha tea brings antioxidant power to protect and calm skin. Aluminum-free, stain-free, and formulated to last up to 2 months of daily use.
Whole bus fresh, no steak on me. Soft Disclosure got me clean. Fresh so loud, can't compete. Mint, lemon, grapefruit, lavender tea.
It helps fight odor without blocking the body's natural sweat. And every purchase helps support 6 American small businesses. Buy 2 deodorants, get a free lip balm. Or visit softdisclosure.com and use promo code FRESH for 15% off.
What are you doing?
Soft Disclosure got me clean. Fresh so loud, can't compete.
All right, softdisclosure.com. How come you didn't add a childhood photo of Alpha?
I didn't know.
I didn't either.
So I'm terrible with Telegram.
All right, then let's go ahead and hit our next sponsor here. And there we go, guys. Quick question. How much control do you have over your money right now? Technology has changed everything, and now it's changing how money works. Crypto started as a niche, but now it's going mainstream. Faster payments, more control, fewer middlemen. This isn't hype. It's just where things are going. And getting started today is easier than you think. With Rumble Wallet, you can buy Bitcoin, you can hold dollar-backed stable coins, you can even own digital gold backed by real gold all in one place. It's a non-custodial crypto wallet, which means you, not a bank or platform, control access to your funds. Setup is simple. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your debit card, credit card, or bank account and be up and running in minutes. And for a limited time, you can start your wallet with $20 in U.S. stable coins by downloading the Rumble Wallet and entering my exclusive promo code DAILY20 when you sign up now. You can even use your Rumble Wallet to support your favorite Rumble creators like us directly. So do this now. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description or go to wallet.rumble.com/daily, download Rumble Wallet, set up your wallet, enter promo code DAILY20 and get your $20 in stable coins, US stablecoin. This is a limited time offer, so act now. Take control of your money and get started with Rumble Wallet today. This is a paid advertisement for Rumble Wallet. Rumble is compensating me for this ad. Void where prohibited. No purchase necessary. Offer available to U.S. residents only. Offer not available in New York State. Must be 18 and older. Offers available for a limited time and for the first 250 wallets activated and funded. Restrictions apply. Details and official rules available at rumble.com/promo-official-rules. All right. Let's jump back into the news. So the Oxford comma, F-E-R-D. Before we get into your take on that, I just want to highlight Jeff Clark put this out. Good grief, it's even worse than I thought. They didn't just deliberately misspell Oxford as Oxford, F-E-R-D. They substituted in a 0 for an O so that it's not comma, it's comma with a 0. Totally designed to foil FOIA requests. Spot on. It should be investigated as an obstruction of justice. Some real obstruction of an official proceeding. I consulted with a document expert. He measured the O looking letter digit in the document and concluded that it was a 0. And then Svetlana Lokova put this out as well, saying that the Obama surveillance that was ordered against the Trump campaign that Comey and McCabe did, well, they changed Cambridge to ACM Bridge, and just a continuation of that obfuscation. And that's designed to stop you from being able to FOIA documents or get these documents in a FOIA. They did the same thing with the Horowitz report, the IG report. The Mueller report had it with Comey, where they put Corney instead of Comey, and the R and the N instead of putting Comey in. So they don't want us seeing these documents. And you got our take yesterday, and it's pretty straightforward. What is your take, Mr. Alpha Warrior?
My take is if you subscribe to the boards, they already told you misspellings matter, sentence formatting matters. So for those that want to say that it's a hoax, then how did they have that? How did a guy in the basement have that kind of information? No, that's something that has to be intelligence at the highest level on the good side. So, but here's the thing. I absolutely agree, as that is at a minimum, not conspiracy in the way we look at it, but conspiracy as in 2 or more people trying to commit a crime at a minimum needs to be looked at that, because that's somebody, a typo. If it's one time and it's one letter, I get it. I get it. But even then, it's going to be, the letter next to the O, it'll be the punctuation next to the comma. These are deliberate things that are meant to look like something, but not. That's not accidental. That's intent. And people know that in law, intent matters. And in situations like this, when you can identify a pattern and show the intent, these people are cooked. And if it's been known that long, I don't think that these are going to be the last documents we see like that.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Now that it's come out at like 6 months after Oxford comma. So Oxford comma was opened on May 16th, I believe, of 2017. Comey was fired on May 9th. So this was opened a week after James Baker and Bill Priestap both signed off and approved this investigation. On November 2nd, and I'm trying to find it real quick, but I can't find it. There was a text message, or excuse me, a Twitter post, because it was Twitter back then, from James Comey about the Oxford comma, saying, check the actual cover. I'm all about the Oxford commas. And where the heck? Hold on. Let me find this real quick.
It's on General Flynn's feed, too, if you want an easy way to search it.
Well, I had an article that I was going to write about it this morning, but it could be coincidental. There could be, some coincidence around this. But Bad Kitty Unleashed, I'll go to her X here, because she had the best dig on this that I've seen thus far. Why am I not sharing that screen? All right, there it is. Why did Comey repost this account in May 26th, right after the Oxford comma was open? This Comey 007 account started back in 2016, and there's 0 archive post. That is gaming talk, but the correct phrase, Boku Hero Academia. And this leads to the post. Come on. I had this up. Where the heck did it go? Hold on. I'll just go to my channel because I shared, or my profile, because I shared it as well. There it is. So James, here's the post that James Comey put out. It was in response on November 2nd. Lordy, I hope there are pictures. It was about Axios putting out his book, which the book was titled A Higher Loyalty, Truth, Lies, and Leadership. Now, that's what an Oxford comma is. For those that don't know what an Oxford comma is, whenever you have a series of things in order and you're putting commas between them, the Oxford comma is the comma before the last word, before the and, right? So here, truth, comma, lies, comma, and leadership. Okay, an Oxford comma is that comma after the lies. Otherwise, it's truth, comma, lies and leadership, putting those two words together. And so that's originally how this article had appeared. And that's what Comey's commenting on here, where he says, check the actual cover. I'm all about Oxford commas. So this could be coincidental. I don't know if it is or it's not, but there were some interesting responses to it. So I put this post out trying to figure out who the original was. And here's the Bad Kitty post. This is the one I was looking for. Ironically, somebody who now has a private account responded with commas can be expensive. Not sure. Hashtag Trump Russia legal team are up to the punctuation challenge. I don't know. Maybe it's signaling. Maybe it's, somebody acknowledging that he has knowledge of this, because he's out of the FBI. So he should not be privy to this investigation into President Trump. And for those that don't know, Oxford comma was an investigation they opened up after the Steele dossier was cleared, after everything was all cleared, and they opened up a criminal investigation while he was president into President Trump for Russia, for being a state agent, either in the past or presently. I'll hand it over to you now, man.
I mean, no, you did a fantastic job of covering it. But again, I look at this as the gateway into more that are going to come. Because now that you identified a pattern of how things have been hidden, now you get to, especially in the age of AI, you get to go and say, well, I won't even get into it because I don't want to reveal people. So if there's bad people still trying to conceal it, but there's ways to go in there and create a prompt to find this stuff now very rapidly.
Yeah. I wonder, how much of this is going to, and this is where I texted you this yesterday. This makes the 86-47 thing that much more interesting in that regard. You good? You good? You're muted. You're still muted. I can't hear you, but I heard the monitor go off.
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure what little one wasn't freaking out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I wonder what implications this is going to have on the 86-47. If they're going to find out, because now they'll be able to go back and look at this thing and be able to find out what communications were taking place back there. Was as the former. Good.
This goes back to the whole, there's more to it than what we're being told about. And was this that? I believe this is absolutely a part of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, around the same time, was it Comey or was it Brennan that said there's good people in the entire? No, Comey was the one that came out and said, I'm still talking to FBI guys. They're, giving me updates of what's going on. And
no, that was
scared.
Brennan.
That was Brennan?
Brennan, because he identified him as well, you know what? Comey might have did it too.
I think
but
they both did.
But Brennan came out, and Brennan's the one that says, we still have good guys in the intelligence. We have a legion.
Right.
And that's when we're like, oh, very interesting choice of words. Yeah.
Right. But Comey said, I still have FBI guys coming up to me and talking to me about what's going on in the agency.
You are correct about that.
And yeah, so again, and going back to the 86-47 discussion that we had, I said that alone is not enough. Like, that's not going to, but if there's other stuff that was cooking behind the scenes, and this coming out now, the Oxford comma thing coming out now, I think there's going to be a lot more coming out on this. So it's getting very spicy. It's getting very spicy. Like, you feel, I was thinking about this last night, man, and the midterms are in what? Just under 3 months. Under 3 months.
Less than 100 days.
Yes. That is when you're going to see, like, after the election's done and we no longer have to worry about political capital, you no longer have to worry about, weaponization and going after your political enemies. You can no longer use that. Because if they start doing this right now, right? If they start putting people in their bracelets, their steel bracelets and everything else, they're going to say he's just being weaponized. He's weaponizing
tyranny.
Right. Tyranny. He's arresting his political opponents.
What the whole No Kings protests were all supposed to be for, to create this public indictment of what Trump's doing, so that when this happened, because they knew it was coming, so they were trying to set up the narrative to get ahead of them, so that when it did happen, they could be like, we told you so. And they're still going to do it. Mm-hmm. When he makes a very large scale decision with regards to the midterms, they're still going to do it. They don't have the court of public opinion behind them.
I don't think he's going to declare a national emergency. Is that what you're getting at? I hope he doesn't. I really do. I hope
he does.
I hope he doesn't, man. He doesn't have the authority.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Yes,
we had this discussion on Why We Vote with Marley Hornick on Tuesday night. I think that's a trap, man. I really do.
There's precedent.
He has a lot of authority, but I don't think. I guess we have to define what a national emergency, what the declaration would entail. I guess we have to define that.
Why do you think he put it part of our infrastructure? His infrastructure.
He didn't do that. Obama did that.
So Trump putting elections as part of our national infrastructure?
That was Obama.
No, that was Trump.
No, that was
unless he reworded it, but Trump created an
Obama-
executive order putting
Obama declared elections critical infrastructure in 2016, right after the election. And
Well,
he
then
put, what
let
was
me
that
research
guy's
because he
name?
did an
Jay-
executive order doing that. So I don't know
No,
if he
it was
reworded
defi-
a
it was-
pre-existing one then.
It was definitely Obama that declared it critical infrastructure.
All right, give me 1 second. I'll come back.
Let's play this clip while you're looking that up.
Yeah, go for it.
This is John Solomon just going scorched earth on the GOP, and I love this.
I'm going to go back to being a reporter.
Oh, hey. We don't need John Solomon on 2X.
I do not know this information from anything I've gained in government. I can tell you with 100% certainty that Republicans are obstructing the investigation into weaponization. There are two Republicans I can name by name, Senator John Thune and Senator Tom Cotton. They have refused for months now. The first request came in late January, early February. They are refusing thus far to provide to Joe DeGenova, to the prosecutors in Florida, to the Miami U.S. Attorney, to the Justice Department, the transcripts of John Brennan's interviews with the Senate Intelligence Committee. They have refused to do so. I'm going to call out a third name because I don't understand the Justice Department's behavior. When a body that's separate of the executive branch doesn't comply, every other time in American history, go back to Iran-Contra, go back to Watergate, the Justice Department subpoenas the Congress. For some reason, the acting attorney general, who wants to be the permanent attorney general, has not authorized a subpoena to the United States Senate to get those documents. Those documents will allow the prosecutors in Miami to decide whether the charges are warranted against John Brennan. The idea that Republican senators will not cooperate with the Republican administration is ridiculous politically, but it's illegal. It's obstruction. There ought to be a grand jury subpoena sitting in the Senate clerk's office, and there ought to be a court case yesterday compelling this because the Justice Department has been delayed by 8 months by two Republican senators who have the responsibility and the ability to deliver this. You want to get to the grand conspiracy case, you need the missing evidence, and the Senate possesses it. And as of this date, I can find no evidence they've turned it over, and there is no grand jury subpoena because the clerk of the Senate would have to report it publicly. I just checked the congressional record again today. So Todd Blanche, Tom Cotton, John Thune, you got some explaining to do to the War Room posse.
Blanche is the only one I'm giving a pass on because he's not through yet. And Thune is one of the obstacles to get through to the.
Your volume sounds different, just so you know.
Doesn't it? Does.
Now it
Like
sounds
lower?
good. Oh, you're probably just far back.
I might have been further back.
Yeah.
Blanche is the only one that I give a temporary pass on this because he's not yet. He's still acting, and you don't want to go completely scorched earth while you're acting because then
You're going to stay acting.
You stay acting, right? And Thune, one of the people that Solomon's calling out here is Thune and Tillis are the two that he needs to get. That he needs to get the confirmation. So, but Cotton, I mean, Tom Cotton, I'm no fan of Tom Cotton, but being called out by John Solomon there directly as a journalist, not as the head of the government task force on transparency, government transparency task force, but as a journalist, being called out for obstructing by keeping the John Brennan testimony in the Senate Intel Committee from, like, are we seeing a battle now between the DOJ down in the Southern District and the U.S. Senate? Is the Senate obstructing an investigation, a racketeering investigation, the Grand Rico of all Grand Ricos? This is going to be fascinating.
It's hinting at that. It's hinting at that. And I just want to show
he's flat out saying it. It's not hinting at that. He's flat out saying it.
Well, he's saying part of it. He's saying part of it. He's navigating it carefully. And I think it's because he has multiple hats. But I do agree with you. And so, no, you were right. And I was confusing it with the declaring it as a national emergency. However, the timeline is interesting. Because do you know when Obama made that, or Obama's
right before he left office? I think it was January of 2017.
January 6th of 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like they thought something would have been coming down the pipeline for Trump, and it's going to boomerang back on them. But again, the executive order, it's 13848. This is one.
Oh, you could have just that's over sanctions for foreign interference.
For foreign interference.
Yeah.
But declare it as a national emergency.
Yeah, that requires all the intel to give them a report 45 days after an election. And that's where all of this massaging the presidential daily briefs and all of this has come out now. The question is when this is all exposed, and I don't know if he's going to do this. This is part of the national emergency. You can sanction businesses that are involved in the elections or that were involved in the foreign interference. And so there's a lot of businesses that could get rolled up in this. We don't know the extent of it yet. So if you're using that for your national emergency, then sure, that
well, that's where we're going.
Yeah,
it's why the front focus was foreign interference before domestic.
Well, I agree with that.
Because listen, domestic, granted, they're one and the same, and I won't make that argument. I'm just saying, surface level, the one that has the most immediate, tangible effect, if you go after it, is the domestic. But again, he's limited in his powers. But if you go and you identify the foreign interference into elections first, you broaden the scope of then what you can do domestically. And then if you show that these actors are cooperating with them, which we're seeing with the concealing of some of the China files, I think Solomon dropped that one yesterday. It supports all that as well. So we're gonna see that national emergency.
I don't want to hash it out here because we've only got like 13 minutes, and it's something that we'd have to think about. And I'd be curious to see how you see that playing out. And we'll have a discussion about this because you got to give me an idea.
We can talk about it tonight.
Yeah. You got to give me an idea of what you're looking at in that direction, and then I can tell you, because everybody's got different opinions. And I've had people say like he needs to go in and seize all the machines. Good luck doing that. You're gonna get him in a lot of trouble if you do that.
You don't have to seize the machines.
Right. Okay.
At all.
We agree on that then, because there are people out there that are calling for that. And I'm like, you don't do that.
You don't have to seize them. They can stay there as paperweights. What you can do is dictate the process of how the election's going to go.
Okay. So
and in that process, you can say it is going to be a paper ballot.
We'll talk that out. And maybe we'll talk about it on Sit Rep, or maybe we'll get you on Why We Vote to lay out your plan, and then good luck dealing with Ash. She'll.
Hold on.
I'm a little more. What are you doing?
It's making the crowd happy.
Why?
Watch.
Oh, are you like having the eagle land on your?
Yes.
Oh, okay. When Ash is on the show,
asking, so I was like, okay.
When Ash is on the show, the eagle is picking up her dog, Lily Pad. She's got a picture of her dog.
That's
right there.
terrible.
The eagle's coming in and grabbing Lily Pad.
With her. That's dude, that's not what
I was wondering. I was like, is that a soft disclosure spot right there? Like showing the deodorant, like no pit stains. Yeah. Okay.
Dude, oh, that's terrible, man.
All right, so let's go through like kind of a quick rundown here. Senator Johnson, Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations, has obtained a copy of Fauci's phone from HHS back during the pandemic era, so we don't have any information on this yet. Does anybody in the chat know there's a vote today on whether or not they're going to hold Fauci in contempt of Congress? Does anybody know if that's out of committee yet? It was this morning.
Voted yes.
They did vote to hold him in contempt of Congress.
That's what I heard. That's what I read.
Okay, that's breaking news then.
I didn't double verify it, but there was a bunch of things on the timeline saying he's going to be held accountable. Yeah, see, passed committee.
Ash said 7 to 8. 7 to 8. You mean 8 to 7? 7 to 8. I hope it's 8 to 7, not 7 to 8. Okay, so it did pass. All right, good. Because here's the thing. I've had this discussion a couple times now. I think he is going to be compelled to testify, even if, and you and I had this discussion last Thursday, where you said states can bring charges against him, and you were like, oh yeah, they can. No, they can't. They can't. They can't.
We got to bet on this one.
Hold on. So they can outside of his official capacity, but what he did as NIAID director, they cannot bring charges against him. No, they can't.
In every
the Constitution.
In every government job, every government job, with the exception of maybe the president, there's an argument to be made there. Anytime you act outside the scope of your designated responsibility, you are not protected. And it's very subjective on what that looks like, but that is the pathway.
Okay, so hold on. So you just said outside of your designated. That's not what I'm implying. That's not what the questioning would be about. The questioning would be, to his job.
Well,
as an
again,
NIAID
this
director.
is the thing. And this is where the intent comes into it. If you show that the destruction of those emails weren't because it's normal routine maintenance, but there's a purpose for it, that's outside the scope of his duties. He's on the hook.
Nope.
Okay. Nope. We need to make a bet. Here's the bet.
We can make a bet.
Here's
I
the
will
bet.
absolutely make a bet.
If I'm right and it plays out like that, I got to grow a CannCon beard. If you're right and I'm wrong,
don't even.
No, I had that backwards. If you're right, I got to grow a big old CannCon beard. If I'm right, you got to get an alpha face. So you don't have to go skin, but you got to bring it to here.
Nope.
Come on, there's no way you're wrong.
I'm not betting. I'm not betting. Taking a bet like that. That's like if you're right, cut off your nuts. If I'm right, cut off your nuts.
No, because you can grow it back. You can't do that.
You can grow them back. No, you can't. But
no.
You still won't sell just one for the pirate ship, man. You still won't sell one.
I was
for
like,
the pirate
we've had
ship
this conversation, man.
on Monday.
I wouldn't be a pirate.
We'll talk more about this on SitRep, because this is something I want to get. I will fight you over this. I think I'm right on this, and I think you're right to a different extent, but in a different way.
It comes off the concept where it is in law enforcement, you have a thing known as immunity, right? And everybody understands this. Even if you make a mistake, there's things where you're protected through immunity. However, if they can show that, and remember, it doesn't have to be that course of action, but at any point, if there's a course of action that initiated that process and it's outside the scope of your duties, it's gone. You don't have it.
Okay, so we're gonna talk this out on SitRep, because I disagree with your assessment there.
You always say the chat doesn't love you, and I just want to read what Kit CSO said. You are pretty, Can. You would look good anyway.
Oh. The chat doesn't like me when I'm on with you, because you're just like a hopium slinger. You're
how's that? This is not hopium. You're
a drug dealer.
No, it's not.
You're a drug dealer. I'm going strictly by the facts, and Alpha's like,
you're not going by the facts. You're not going by the facts.
Yes.
Why do you think you have states saying that
clause of the Constitution?
Why are there
1896?
States? Why are there states saying that they're going to investigate them? Because there's a pathway to do it.
No, because they want to kick the can down the road till Trump's gone, because a lot of them are complicit in this. A lot of them are freaking complicit in it. The states are going to say they're going to investigate. It's going to take all these time. Fauci's going to be dead before Udemeyer down in Florida ever gets anything going on Fauci.
See, you're a black pillar.
Just give
You're
him,
a black pillar. Even though they're doing something, it's not going to matter.
No.
If we say,
hold on.
That's a black pillar.
No, you don't know my theory on this. You
just said it.
You have
that
not
he'll
heard
be
my
dead
theory.
before they ever prosecute him.
All 50 states should give Fauci a pardon. All 50 states should give Fauci a pardon.
That's ridiculous.
Fauci cannot go before the DOJ or Congress, and he cannot use the excuse that I could perjure myself in another crime.
He doesn't have to.
He has a blanket pardon. He has to testify.
Let's just be very clear, folks.
No.
You're saying speak factual. Do any of you watching this podcast in any chat put a 1 if you think Fauci would ever testify, even compelled? Would you testify?
Well, then he goes to prison.
And what does he go to prison for?
Contempt of Congress.
And how long's that sentence?
Until he decides to testify. Contempt isn't like you're done. No, you go in prison until you testify.
Do we not have a thing in this country called double jeopardy? Everybody forgets that when it comes to contempt.
I don't know. No.
You always talk about the Constitution.
85, bro. He's 85.
This is the point I'm trying to make. Fauci is going to go to the gulags, folks, but it's not because he's going to testify. The reason they're asking him all those questions, the reason they put it out into the public because of the public indictment, is because they already have the information. They're not relying on Fauci. Is not what's going to be that opens up the can. It's not. Now, if Fauci testifies, it'll be because he negotiated a deal, which the pardon doesn't matter at that point. He's negotiating a deal where he doesn't want the death penalty from an actual real Nuremberg, and he's going to give people up. But I'm telling you, outside of that, he'll never testify, even compelled.
I don't disagree with that. That he won't testify. I'm with you 100%. However, if we kick the can down the road, the dude's going to die before we ever get to that point. If we rely on state investigations, he will die before we ever get to any type of accountability for him.
He'll probably die, but it ain't going to be because of age.
I think so.
It ain't going to be because of age.
Exactly. I said the other. Well, it will be because of age. That's what we'll be told.
That's what we'll be told.
Yeah. I think him and Biden both, their days are numbered.
Hillary's dressing up like Deborah Birx right now. Like, I want to have lunch with you, Fauci. That's what's going on.
Like between the Zaunwitzer tapes that just came out on Biden and Fauci, like those two right there. I mean, they're both in their 80s, and those two right there, Biden delegitimizes the auto pen pardons, whether it's on the auto pen itself or whether it's on he was a criminal, whatever the case might be. There's many different avenues to delegitimize those auto pen pardons, including being an illegitimate president. And then Fauci, he's going to have to testify, and he can't use the excuse. So, yeah.
A lot of people are saying, why is Trump not going after the auto pen or going after the auto pen? I mean, just theory here, because there's nothing concrete to it. Is this could be part of the leverage that's being used to get Fauci to voluntarily testify. Listen, we're allowing that to stand. We're allowing that to stand, so you have a pathway here. But if you don't want to give us who we need, then we're probably going to investigate that, and that pardon's going to go away. And again, this is all going to be, we'll never know, because that wouldn't be legal or ethical, because that would be coercion. However, unrestricted warfare, you guys know where I operate in that world. I think conversations like that probably are happening or have happened.
That's why I said on last week before he testified, I said I hope he doesn't testify, because I don't want him to testify and then the pardons get delegitimized, and all of a sudden that testimony either disappears or we know it but it's inadmissible, because and I don't even know what I don't even know how that whole process would work. Like, how would that process even work if he had testified and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, the pardons are illegitimate? Like, okay, well, can he retroactively plead the fifth? Who knows?
Who knows?
All right, we gotta land this there. We'll continue this conversation on Sit Rep tonight, and probably get into some more shenanigans as well. What's up?
Someone gave you a lot of love on Rumble, and somebody was very mean on YouTube.
What would they say on YouTube? I couldn't care. Brian's vaxxed. I am definitely not vaxxed. Well, actually, I am vaxxed because I was in the Marine Corps. And
Not COVID vaxxed. Not COVID vaxxed.
COVID vaxxed? Absolutely not.
No,
Absolutely not.
My brother's pure blood when it comes to that. Y'all need to give him love, all right? You need to give him love. That's my boy right there.
I don't care. I don't care. I will never cater to an audience. I will never look at the chat and be like, "Oh my God, I better change my views." That's fucking retarded.
You don't have to. I
know I
yell
don't
at my
have to,
audience all the time, and they
that's
yell
what I'm
at me.
saying. That's what I'm saying. No. I'm not saying I'm going that way, but or that I'm insinuating you are. I'm just saying we have differing ideas on this, and that's all there is to it. Lee Walden, ahoy, Brian and Alpha. Thanks, Marine. Semper Paratus. I was Air Sea Rescue back in my day. Helicopter crew chief. Hell yeah, Lee. Good to see you, and happy belated birthday, my coasty brother. Rebelinator, Ash Alpha, for your consideration. What is this? It better be like less than a minute. It can't be copyright either. Oh. When the suspect is a kangaroo.
Se você...
Can you see that?
That's the worst thing he could have done.
Se você...
It's AI, but I'll give it to.
But here's let me just
No, you're gonna get your ass kicked.
To that point, the worst thing because you're doing is you're giving him more surface area to distribute that impact. Versus if you move, you're changing that. It's gonna hurt more wherever it hits, but you're doing that. See, I'm telling you, whoop a kangaroo's ass, man.
Lee Walden, hey, Brian and Alpha, please allow me to share my handle on X and other accounts. Lee Wall for all. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Stay the course. The promise of America is still within reach. There it is. Lee Walden, Lee Wall for all. Lee Walden, roll me another one just like the other one. Yeah.
You could have shared that in the chat. I wouldn't have an issue with that.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, if you guys want to share your socials so you guys can follow each other, I don't think any of us would ever have an issue with that.
Yeah, I think he wanted us to read it so that everybody sees Lee Wall for all. Go give him a follow.
Okay, I'm tracking.
Yeah, Emerald Dragon. Hey, gents, sorry for the off-show rant, but it's hard for me to catch Alpha live. Do you notice any amplification of the opposition G. Flynn may be part of the break the glass meme? Do you notice any amplification of the opposition that G. Flynn may be part of the break glass meme?
I'll just give a short, perspective on this. Is in order to get to Trump, you got to destroy the infrastructure that supports him. There's the public infrastructure and there's the not so public infrastructure. What you're seeing here is the takedown of infrastructure that's around Trump, because then that's how you get to Trump.
All right. Lee Walden, and we can talk about that tonight on Sit Rep as well, because that is actually military related. Lee Walden, so I'm half blind, can't hear well, a little wonky on my feet, can't spell of a shit. But I, for one, now, we got good people on our side with Badlands. I'm not giving up on America. Thanks, guys. Keep the faith. Thanks, Lee. Appreciate you, brother. Star Baby Girl. Also, don't talk to text when you do the rants. I give him crap for that all the time. It's an inside joke between us and Lee. Star Baby Girl, as a poll worker in Michigan, you are not allowed to tell a voter someone has dropped out. Also, ballots were printed before the candidates dropped out. We had a Democrat and Republican drop out. I wonder if they do that because that was how Antrim got all screwed up, is because a candidate dropped out and they updated it. And so
I can definitely see that as strategy, man.
Yeah, because that's how it all got screwed up there. I wonder if that's what happened in Amir Hassan's race. Did a candidate drop and all of Amir Hassan's votes went to the other guy? I don't know. All right. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. We've got Badlands Book Club coming up here at 2 p.m. with Ash and I. We call it the Bad Mood Hour, going over The Creature from Jekyll Island. We're finishing, I think, chapter 9 today. Also, Daily Herald at 1 p.m., so you can watch that before Badlands Book Club. And then Sit Rep tonight at 9 p.m. Alpha, what do you got coming up?
Same thing, Sit Rep. And then after Sit Rep, Overwatch and The Guardian with my boy Josh.
There you go. All right, guys. Take care, and we will see you guys tonight or this afternoon.